I don't think it has a Zoom function. Hello, everybody. This is me. Hi. Hi. Today's day 271, and I wanted to show you something. In the background here, you can see the little Lego lady. Hard to make out probably, but there she is. That's my ideal weight for surgery. Is 200 and no. It's day 271, but my ideal weight is like 207. Okay. So what I did is I wanted to do just a visual guide. I need to track my weight. So if we did one Lego for every pound I need to lose, and we'll go all the way the hell up there, and that's me at what I weigh today, which is 318. So it's 111 bricks. It's 111. Let me roll this on over. It's 100. Here we go. All right. It's 111 Legos to reach my ideal weight. And so I don't know if it's definite yet. I know some surgeons have a requirement, and there's something statistically about having a BMI of 27 that you heal better, or your rate of healing or surviving, I don't quite understand, with using a laser when they do the surgery. And so 27 BMI is kind of a goal number. And if I believe my current BMI is 42, I am obese by whomever came up with the BMI number. And so mentally, I'm preparing myself. I don't go see the surgeon for another month. I have an appointment at the end of March, and so I have time, but I'm kind of preparing myself for that. Well, gee, Robin, you are a viable candidate for surgery, but you're fat, and in order to have surgery, you need to be at a 27 BMI. And so I have my little wall of Lego to kind of track my weight. Pretty cool. And I must say, it is quite a challenge to get 111 Legos to stay on top of each other. So anyway, today is my day 271, and just wanted to kind of give just kind of a general update. I had my first draw up the surgical letter appointment this morning, and that was really cool. This past weekend, I had my first pre-surgery electrolysis. I'm trying to get the second letter started. I'm having a little difficulty finding a person to just evaluate me. And that said, the challenge is that finding a person to evaluate me who is in my health insurance plan, my network, who can do gender stuff and has all the qualifications to meet the requirements to write the letter. So it's not like I'm just not picking up the phone and calling. I'm calling around and whatnot. So, and then for the surgeon, I need a letter from my endo, and that is also in the works. So there's a lot of things kind of in the works, as well as eating a little better. I'm exercising more. So everything's full speed ahead. So that's really, really good. And then on a medical note, the request to increase my estrogen did go through. So that's really, really good. So today is my first day on 3 patches as opposed to 2 patches. And we will see what that does. So all in all, I can't complain. Everything seems to be falling into place. And mentally, I'm kind of preparing myself. It would be really super groovy cool for me to, if I could schedule a surgery for the summer, that would be wonderful. Sometime between May and July. So I get this year's plan. If we can't do that, then I will obviously wait until December, January, February, March, about a year from now. Only because at that point I will have met my deductible, and surgery will be a fraction of the cost that it normally would be. Obviously, the advantage to doing it before my plan resets is because there's a maximum out of pocket, And so let's assume the surgery is $20,000 and I'm only responsible for a fraction of that. And of that, my maximum out of pocket is $1,000. Then the most I'm going to pay out of my pocket is $1,000. And from going from having to pay $15,000 to $20,000 out of pocket to $1,000 is a pretty damn good deal. Our political climate is a little in the mix right now. President Trump and the Republican, just happens to be Republicans, could be Democrats next year, but the current trend is to undo the Affordable Care Act, which has that requirement that says that a company cannot discriminate by law, cannot discriminate. So there is a bit of a clock because they are trying to dismantle it. But again, worst case scenario is it just takes longer to get the surgery, and I thank God that I'm in the right mindset, that I'm not, I have to have my surgery. I'm not that way. Other than that, I can't think of too much else. I've had some good feelings lately. Either I get a compliment. I noticed this today. I got a compliment from something I did, and someone said I was wonderful, and it was like, I have to grab my hair. I was like, am I really wonderful? It's like, really? My hair is getting good too. Let me do this here. I noticed this last night, that my hair, my bangs here, if you can go under your chin, oh, I look like an old witch, don't I? If you can touch your hair under your chin, you've made it. I mean, that's like, to me, because once it's that long, you can do stuff with it. You can braid it. You can do all sorts of funky stuff. And so I'm almost at that cusp. If you do the math on my days, I'm like a stone's throw away from 10 months. Can you believe 10 months? Oh my goodness. Let me get this right. I only wear this bow at home, by the way, but I'm tempted to start to wear it all the time because I really dig bows. I like bows. And I've looked goofy most of my life, and so why wouldn't I continue that, right? And really, that's all I can think of. I just wanted to kind of do an update. Things are progressing. And I had something else too, and I was driving home, and I was thinking, boy, I need to make a video that says that, and I have totally forgotten what it was. Let me think for a minute. Okay, I remembered. At the risk of sounding blasé, like I don't care, in some regards, I have the feeling or the opinion that the transition process, and maybe the latter part of it, the end game, the surgery process, it is a game somewhat, and I don't mean that to say it's fun to play, but there's requirements you have to do, and I find it's like, oh great, I have to do this, and oh great, I have to do that. For example, in order to see a doctor, you need to get a letter from 2 other doctors. It's like, okay, you almost, and I realize there's a process and there's a reason for the process. There's a good reason. You don't want people to make rash decision, blah, 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 blah. I'm not against that. It's just, in some regards, it seems like a game in a way. And here's an example specifically. In order to have this surgery some 12 months from now, 14 months from now, I have to find a person to write a letter. They don't know me. You know what I mean? I have my first letter. Okay, the big letter, I have that. I'm going to have the endo letter. But it's like I'm just calling up people. Hi, And especially I mentioned about the insurance. Hello, do you take my insurance? You do. Do you have a master's degree? You do. Do you have continuing education in gender studies? You do. Okay, I'm going down my list like I'm shopping for a therapist or a counselor. And it's just someone to evaluate me. And in some regards, I feel like this is a pay your dues type thing. Like, if you're not willing to go the extra effort and make the attempt and pursue it and actively, it's almost like you got to fight for it. They're not going to give it to you. There was an episode of Taxi where, and forgive me if I forget the name, Latka, I believe, was the Andy Kaufman, and they were going to get married, and their country was they tried to make it sound like they were backwards, but the priest said something like, well, you can't get married, you haven't done everything you need to do. And the woman, the wife, fought and said, no, you will marry me. We have done everything we need to do. You will do this. It's right, or whatever. And the priest kind of stood there for a minute, and he was like, very well, you've passed the test. And they're like, what do you mean the test? And the translated it, as part of the marriage ceremony, the wife must demand that they get married, so it was part of that test. They don't make it easy because they want you to work for it. Maybe. But, I think about, if you didn't have that idea of the game or the process you have to go through and you took it personally, and maybe, why do transgender people kill themselves? Why, what I mean? Statistically, is it because the process is too hard? Is it because the expectation, or is it the feeling that, I'll never get this, I'll never follow through. I mean, hell, the price alone, I'll never be able to pay for it. I'll kill myself. Is it, what is, and I'm not an expert. I'm only sharing my feeling with it. I see the game for what it is, and I understand the process that I have to go through, and I certainly understand, there have been people before me who have had far more restrictions, and thank goodness we have options. Thank goodness we have access to this care today. But again, it's like, the analogy I used the other day, because my mom really didn't understand. She's like, why are you doing this now? You have your time. You can't even do it for a year. And I wanted to just say, but it's like, if you hurt yourself and you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, I can see that you're in trouble, but before I can even talk to you about it, I need you to get 3 letters from 3 other doctors and tell me that you've got it. And then, okay, once I have those letters, your insurance company now needs to agree to that process. And once that's done, okay, there's a 6-month waiting list to get in to see me. And then there's a 12-month waiting list for the surgery. Or, again, if you had a broken wrist or a broken arm, you would get it done sooner. And it's, in a way, this mental health things, because we're not, our damage is inside of us, or it's internal. People just think, oh, well, you're okay, you can make it, you're fine, and like I said, so I'm counting my stars. Thank you, God, that I'm able to comprehend the process, but it can be frustrating. And in my last 30 seconds here, the other thing I thought about in the car was just that in some ways this is not necessarily a 3-ring circus, but you have 3, in my experience, I have 3 people I'm trying to please to get through this process. I have the surgeon who has their requirements. I have my insurance company who has their requirements. And then the third party is the WPATH standards of care. Now, both of these other 2 gatekeepers, my insurance company and the surgeon, both reference the WPATH standards of care. But I feel like in some ways, I have to get letters for the WPATH. I have to get letters from my surgeon. I have to get letters from my insurance company. And it's just a matter of who do I see first. So, all right, I'm out of time. Goodbye. Good luck. Keep going.